The world has already become more loving, and we missed it. Hey guys, it's John sitting here in my living room on a beautifully cold day. I'm surprised it's April, and right now it says it's 30 degrees outside with the wind chill making it feel like 19 in the beginning of April. Welcome to Ohio. I am sitting here because it's so chilly outside. I'm sitting here enjoying a mug of John's Show coffee. Thoroughly enjoying the experience. I wanted to hop on and talk about a conversation I had with my best friend, Tim. Tim and I have known each other since we were 5 years old, and we grew up in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. And we were talking about Rehoboth when we were young. And when I was down in Rehoboth on vacation, I helped Tim haul a bunch of stuff to the dump with his trailer down there. And on the way back, we started talking about what Rehoboth was like when we were kids. We were driving down the main highway in Rehoboth, which is Route 1. We're driving down Route 1 and we're looking at all of the outlet malls and there is not a cornfield in sight. But when we were kids, there were cornfields everywhere. It was literally a farm town that in the summertime became a beach town. And when I say summertime, I mean on Labor Day in September, the town shut down, and on Memorial Day, it opened up. The town of Rehoboth was literally a 4-month town, basically. But over the course of time, it's changed. When we were kids, Rehoboth had a lot of bar fights and a lot of violence, and we used to jokingly call it the Wild West. And there was a section of town called West Rehoboth that was nicknamed Dodge City because every so often there was a gunfight. I remember being in the Country Squire when a bar fight broke out, and the whole bar was destroyed because of the bar fight. And it was not an abnormal thing. It happened all the time. I heard stories of one of the local legends, Eddie Laura, picked up a jukebox and threw it in a bar fight. Just fight after fight and violence after violence. And we had a couple of gay bars, and the locals who were not as tolerant of people who loved differently used to go to the gay bars and beat up people in their parking lot. I mean, it was a violent, horrific, terrible time. Now I'm 60. I'll be 61 in a couple months. And we're talking about Rehoboth now. The concept of a big bar fight never happens in that town anymore. The concept of a bunch of guys going to a gay bar and beating up a bunch of gay guys never happens anymore. The idea of in any way, shape, or form publicly displaying your biases towards others very rarely happens anymore. And when it does, it's usually such that people chastise the person for being uncaring and unloving. That's the way the world has become. You've got your pockets of poverty, which are the driver of most violence in the world, poverty. And those violent areas are still very violent. But for our hometown, it was the Wild West when we were young. It was a crazy, crazy place to live with lots of bar fights, lots of violence, lots of judging people for who they loved, how they loved, treating women like they were second nature because the big men were the powerhouses and they were creating these bar fights, and it was really a very different time. It was a very different time because that time has passed. That town now, Rehoboth, is such a beautiful town. It's gorgeous. The town of Rehoboth started embracing all people. It embraced the gay community. It embraced, women own, business owners. It embraced um, just being more loving and caring and enjoying the world. There's no bar fights. You know, if there, I talking to my friend Tim today, and he says, if there's ever an issue in town, it's usually because someone has either drank too much or was on some sort of drug. But it's such an anomaly now, you don't even think about it or see it anymore. He says it's rare, and it's usually a small incident, and the police come and they take the person to and they deal with it. But the violence of the town is gone. The violence of that area is gone. That violence has diminished tremendously. But why is that? It's because a long time ago, we started turning the bow of our cargo ship towards a more loving world. And the world is starting to show us the more loving world. The violence isn't there because it's just not acceptable anymore. The vitriol and the anger and the harm against someone who loves differently or thinks differently than you is not acceptable anymore.
And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com.
Imagine how it was in the 60s. Imagine how it was when racial intolerance was so high. My friend Tim, his father used to work at a place in Rehoboth, and they had a no blacks allowed sign in their store. And my friend's father used to let the black people come in and eat, and then people would come in and complain that they're not supposed to be here, and the black people would say to Louis, it's not you, we get it, we're going to leave, we're not going to have cause any problem, we love you, Louis, and they leave. But now you would never remotely see a no blacks allowed because it just makes no sense because the world is becoming more loving. That cargo ship at sea takes miles before that bow comes around after the wheel's been turned. But the wheel turned and we missed it. The wheel turned a long time ago. And the reason Rehoboth has become more loving and bar fights have become an anomaly, in fact, a non-reality because they don't have them anymore. The more we have this expression of this loving world of that ship turning a long time ago, the more the towns start to show us. But I think we need to stop and acknowledge that was a long time ago. And right now it's different. People complain about the internet and they talk about all the social medias and all the blah, 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 blah. But the kids coming up don't see it that way. What they see is, I'm talking to my friend and we're playing our video game. He's in China. He's in Iran. He's in Palestine. They're creating a global community without the borders. How beautiful is that? The world is becoming more egalitarian. We're starting to respect each other's equal rights and start to understand that we are literally creating this loving world. And the internet's part of it because it takes the borders down. And when you look at the place of not having borders, right? Could you imagine the countries in South America that are struggling with cartels and all that violence down there? Could you imagine if there were no borders and we were policing the world? All of us were working together to create a more loving world. Those countries would become like Rehoboth. They'd be more egalitarian. There wouldn't be the violence. There wouldn't be the thing because those things would be being abolished. There's more of us who want a loving world than there are who want a violent world. The violence is more about power and money than it is about anything else. And there's more people in the world who want a loving world. How do I know that? I've been to 30 countries around the world, and I've asked in every country, what's most important to you? And the answer has always been my family. Not my job, not my money, not my ideologies, not my racism, not my... It's always my family. Everybody wants the world to be a loving world for their family. They want their world to live, they want their family to live in a world that accepts and gives them opportunity. Everywhere in the world. When you take the borders down, you find out that the people around the world are just like you. They may have different ideologies of religion, they may have different ideologies, but they all want their family to thrive. And the more we look at this, then you go back to the 80s, and Sting said, the Russians love their children too. Think about that. That's what's happening now. Our children are less homophobic. They're less racist. They're less gender biased. They're more caring. They're more loving. They're more open. They are the future. Old guys like me, we remember the violence. We remember the Wild West. But the kids coming up, don't have those concepts of border, boundary, racism, sexism. All those things are gone because we have turned the ship towards a more loving world. And it's coming into reality. And the more of us that stop focusing on what's put on the news, which is, the bad stuff's always going to get the best press because it gets the best ratings. And the channels that get the best ratings get the best ad revenue. It's that simple. It's that simple. But the more we start looking at things like Rehoboth Beach, a beautiful, loving town with no bar fights, no struggles, none of the stuff that we knew as children, because we turned the ship. And that town becoming this beautiful place to go be is because we turned the ship and the world is becoming more loving. We just have to recognize it, acknowledge it, and not miss it. And the more we acknowledge that, oh my God, I don't remember the town having a bar fight. Well, for me, when I was a kid, that happened weekly. It's a regular thing. Our world is becoming more loving. Don't miss it. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.